Welcome back to The Reaction, the show that gives you the immediate reaction after the biggest game that has happened this weekend has just finished. Literally a few minutes ago, Spurs beat Arsenal at home 2-0 to go top of the table. Today we're going to look at the game as a whole, the key moments, the key players, and what the teams have to face in the next few weeks. Going into the game, Spurs had all the confidence. They had the best defence in the league, the third best attack, and had the chance to go top of the table if they were victorious. Arsenal, however, were lacking confidence. They had just lost to Wolves the previous Premier League game at home, and they had scored just one goal in their last 64 attempts from open play in the league. It was not looking good, and it was always going to be the Jose Mourinho show. Old Jose is back, and it's better than ever. Now, coming into the game, both teams were supposedly meant to be missing big players. Spurs had rumours that Alderweireld could be out, Harry Kane could be out, and Hugo Lloris would be out, whilst Arsenal were facing the possibility of yet again having another game where Partey couldn't play. However, maybe a bit of mind games going on, they all started. But Spurs were missing one of their key players in Ndombele, who ruled himself out of the game earlier this morning. And Arsenal were also missing David Luiz, who is still not fully fit after that head collision against Wolves. Now, the game went as Jose Mourinho could have dreamed of, not dominating it. Arsenal dominated it, in fact, and especially so in the second half. The Gunners had nearly 70% of the ball with 11 shots and just 2 on target. Spurs, on the other hand, had just 3 shots on target, all coming in the first half, and they were super clinical. They are the second best team in the Premier League for shot conversion rate, with 13.5%. It was such a Jose performance. It's what he loves, going ahead and just being happy to defend for the rest of the game, especially when they've scored 2 goals, 2 great goals in fact. And no team in the Premier League has dropped fewer points than Spurs after leading a game. Now, this makes it even worse when you consider that Arsenal have yet to even record 1 point, 1 draw, after conceding first. Now look, Spurs played the Jose way, the way he's taught them over the past few weeks. They were regimented, they played a 4-3-3 and stuck to it until the second half, where they went into a 5 at the back and were consistent with it. They let Arsenal have the ball and would only let them play down the wings because they knew Arsenal had no quality of their ball deliveries going into the box. And they were super happy to just sit back and let Arsenal have the ball because they knew Arsenal would make a mistake, and they did quite a few times, especially in the first half, and have too many men committed forward so they could spring a counter-attack. But to make it even more simple, Spurs won the game because they have 2 elite attackers, 2 of the world's best attackers in Heung Son and Harry Kane. Put it this way, the XG after 90 minutes for Spurs was 0.27. That shows you how ridiculous their finishes was, especially the Heung Son one. As for Arsenal, there was just no quality anywhere on the pitch, especially in the first half. They were putting no good balls into the box when they were making it down the wing, and when they were taking shots, they just weren't good either. They outshot Spurs with 11 shots, however, they only put 2 on target, and their XG was 0.12, which explains a lot. And to be quite honest, it felt like there was just no leaders on the pitch for Arsenal. They were naive in the way they were playing against Spurs. They know that Spurs like to have a counter-attack, and yet they continue to push so many men forward. Bellerin kept going into right wing, the same with Tierney as well, meaning that Holding and Gabriel were left so isolated, especially in the second goal, which we'll get onto later. And Arteta would have worked on this. It's no secret how Spurs have been playing. We saw it against City, we saw it against Chelsea, and these 2 games were identical to how they played today. Some of the chances Spurs had, which weren't a lot, could have been stopped if someone had just done a tactical foul, pulled someone back, given away a foul so they stopped the counter. But that's enough about how they played during the game. Let's have a look at the key moments. 1-0 Spurs. It didn't take long, it came before 15 minutes because in the 12th minute, after having sat back for most of the game, Son carries the ball down the left wing after receiving a pass from Harry Kane, who really wasn't challenged by the Arsenal defence, and curves it into the top right hand corner. Now, if you haven't seen the goal, please go check it out on the Sky Sports highlights because it is ridiculous. It's a mental finish But now, Heung Son has 10 Premier League goals, and Harry Kane got yet another assist. The defending really wasn't great by Arsenal, as I mentioned. They didn't close down Kane properly, but they also didn't close down Son when he got into the position for the shot. I don't know what Bellerin is doing, I'll get onto him later on, but he gives him so much room, arguably one of, if not the best player in the Premier League this season. Gives him so much room to just wrap it round. And I think people were being a bit harsh on Leno. It's a very, very good shot and just puts it into that top right-hand corner. You have to give credit to Son. It is an unbelievable finish. 2-0. Now we're into the 45th minute here, just before half-time, and it's the worst time to concede. Arsenal actually had a bit of good play. Lacazette put a great ball through to Bellerin. Bellerin put an awful cross, which was cut out by Spurs. Aurier then starts the counter-attack. Son plays it, he keeps running, he runs into the box, a little bit of trickery. Harry Kane comes behind him into the left side. Son plays him, Harry Kane left foot into the net. It's a great goal. However, Partey, he had been rushed back for this game. And beforehand, whilst Arsenal were on the attack, he'd gone off to the sideline because I think his injury has returned. However, you can't do that. You're in the 45th minute. Look at the time. I know you're injured. Just go down. Do something like that. You can't just walk off, because it left Xhaka by himself in the centre of midfield and exposed to deal with the Spurs counter-attack. It was completely free roaming for every Spurs player there. Once Son was on the ball, it was always going to lead to a goal. Now, to be quite honest, that was mainly it. In the second half, Spurs played very, very similar to how they did in the second half against Chelsea. They sat back even more. They allowed Arsenal to have the ball when Arsenal were just unable to take their chances. In the 71st minute, Lo Celso comes off for Ben Davies, which explains a lot, going to a 5 at the back. And they were just happy to not concede from then on. And that, as I said, was really it in the second half. Arsenal had very few chances and just couldn't really do anything. They relied so much on Aubameyang last season to help win them these games. He was playing fantastically and on incredible form. But this year, he's just not there. And it shows that the team, without him playing really, really well, is just average at best. Now, for key players, they're becoming an iconic duo. It has to be Kane and Son. And I've got to talk about them as a duo because they are something else at the moment. Maybe the best in the league, because they opened the scoring and got the second. They've now combined for 31 Premier League goals, the second most of any duo after Didier Drogba and Frank Lampard, who have 36, which says a lot. I will not be surprised if they break that record. And 11 of those goals have come this season in the Premier League. Harry Kane, yet again, got another assist, his 10th of the Premier League season in just 11 games. No player has ever reached 10 assists in fewer appearances during that time. He's level with Ozil, who did it back in 2015-16. He's also now the outright top goal scorer in the North London derby in all competitions with 11 goals. He continues to get better. This year, he's now just added elite passing ability to his already outrageous skill set. Harry Kane's goal against Arsenal has also meant that was his 250th for his professional career and his 100th at home for Spurs in all competitions. But them as a duo, Harry Kane and Son, are so important for Spurs. They account for 78% of Spurs' goals this season, which is a good thing, but also slightly worrying, as we know that both of them can be susceptible to an injury. So I'm sure that will be on Jose's mind. Kane now has 8 goals and 10 assists in 11 games. He's 100%, in my opinion, going to break Thierry Henry's record of 24 goals and 20 assists in a league season. And Son has 10 goals in the Premier League and 3 assists. He's also got a conversion rate, by the way, of 63%. That's ridiculous. He's been on fire, and I really just don't know who's better between him and Harry Kane this season. It's so hard to choose. Højbjerg, I thought, also had a fantastic game for Spurs, and I could have mentioned either Alderweireld and Dyer, who were fantastic defensively, clearing so many balls in the air and winning so many aerial duels, but Højbjerg was brilliant. He had an 80% pass accuracy during the game. He completed 2 dribbles, made 3 interceptions, won 1 tackle and won 2 aerial duels. Compared to when he first played against Everton, I actually thought he didn't look the best. He looked a bit shaky at times. He's really grown into this Spurs team, and he's a player that Mourinho must love, because Mourinho just tells him, go out there, do this, and he does it. He's happy to do the dog work, and he's really benefiting from it. As for Arsenal, there were none, and to be quite honest, Hector Bellerin has to look himself in the mirror and be quite ashamed, because he had a nightmare day. He continually made foul throws during the game. He continues to do it. I know Arsenal fans are getting very, very annoyed at him for it. If you're a professional footballer, you can't be doing foul throws. If I was doing it, or any of you guys at home were doing it, and obviously you're not playing at an elite level, it's okay, it's understandable. It's a little bit embarrassing for you. But as a pro footballer, you cannot be doing it. He didn't close down Son for the first goal, which was a proper rookie error, and he played an awful ball, which caused the counter-attack. He completed just 3 passes out of 7 during the first half, and he failed 2 dribbles out of 3, and he also got dribbled past as well. Now, to put it quite simply, he got subbed off in the 74th minute, which says a lot for how Arteta viewed him in the game. In my opinion, he's really suffered from the injuries that he's had. When he was at his peak, he was a very, very good right back and right wing back, but because of these injuries, I don't know if it's mentally or what it is, ever since he's not quite reached that level again. I think Arsenal should look at Tariq Lamptey, to be quite honest. I don't think Hector Bellerin is going to get back to what he was. Defensively, I think he's a bit of a mess at times. Attacking-wise, he can be good. He can be, but I think you should look at Lamptey and try and pick him up. As for what's next, Spurs have an easier run than what they've faced the past few games. They've been able to beat City, draw to Chelsea and beat Arsenal. They've not lost any games. And they now face Palace, Liverpool, Leicester and Wolves, along with the Europa League and the Carabao Cup game as well. So they'll be hoping to win as many of those as possible. The only real game I can see causing them issues is maybe Liverpool, but then who knows? Maybe a team like Palace, where they can't really sit back, might cause them some issues as well. I wouldn't actually be too surprised. As for Arsenal though, they have to be winning their next few games. They've got Burnley, Southampton and Everton in the league before facing Chelsea on Boxing Day, and they also have to play City in the Cup. Now if Arteta wants to keep his job, he has to be winning at least 3 of those. But that was the reaction to Spurs beating Arsenal 2-0 at home in the Premier League. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, then make sure you like it. And if you're not subscribed to the Football Daily YouTube channel, then do that as well. See you later.